Hi guys, today we're looking at a Kodak 3A folding Brownie. If you Google these or look on eBay, it turns out that Kodak made a lot of cameras called 3s and 3As. Some of them were folding pocket cameras. This was the big one. These came in two sizes. This is the larger of the two. This cost $85. I got it at a yard sale. And originally this cost $9. The value on eBay for one of these right now is between $50 and $150, depends on the condition. This one's in cosmetically excellent condition. The shutter has a problem, it probably just needs to be cleaned, but the B and the T settings are sticky, but the regular instant mode works fine. The only personal significance to this was that it's just a large, beautiful folding camera in good condition. Generally, I don't like folding cameras, but this one really stuck out. Inside, it's like new, and I'll show you that in a second. These were made from 1905 to 1915. It's constructed of wood with imitation leather covering and either a maroon or a black bellows. Most of the information on the internet implies that the maroon bellows was the early models and they switched to black later, but I'm not sure of that. And the first thing I did when I got this was to try and clean the bellows. It had a lot of dust and dirt in it, and I made the mistake of using a wet cloth just to take it off, and that actually took off a lot of the red, so it was a deeper, richer maroon before I cleaned it. I wished I had just dusted it. It takes 12 exposures, and each exposure is 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches on 122 roll film. The camera, if it's closed, measures 8 3/8 inches by 4 5/8 inches by 2 5/8 inches, and it weighs 25 ounces when it's all closed up. I'll close it up and give you a look at that. There it is, all closed up, and it's a nice portable camera. Here's the rear view. Back to the front. To open this, there's a concealed button underneath the imitation leather right here, which is a little tricky, but if you just push that little button, it pops out. You fold it down, and then you pull the lens out to the first detent right there. Now, to focus this camera, there's a special little lever here which you can set for different distances. Right now it's set to infinity, so if I pull it a little further, it snaps into that location. And then to release it, I have to press it down and push it back. So if I was to change the focus length to, say, 30 feet or something like that, I would lift this little lever up and move it along the track to a new position, set it down, and then again you pull the lens out so it snaps into there. I'll get a close-up view of that in a second. So right now it's ready to take pictures. I hope the camera focuses on this correctly. This is the shutter release mechanism. This tube here is a little piston, and if you used a pneumatic bulb, which is the only remote release you could get for this, not a mechanical threaded thing, you would put that on here and then squeeze the bulb, and the pressure would push this little piston out and it would trip the shutter. But you could also trip it manually like that. And it's self-cocking every time. It's just a little spring-loaded gizmo. And the f-stops are listed here from F4, here's F4, to F128. Now it turns out that F128 on this old camera is the equivalent of F45 in modern day standards, because in the early 1900s there was an American standard which Kodak adopted, which is not the same as the currently used standard for selecting f-stops. The viewfinder can flip to the side. It's got a little spring-loaded cam to hold it that way. So this would be the horizontal position, and then in the vertical position the viewfinder would also work in that position. The spring is a little loose. And then again, to fold it up, I would have to release the focusing distance lock and then push it back, then push everything all the way back. Flip the viewfinder, release the two levers, and it'll snap right in. On the top, these two lugs are for a leather strap that goes between them. This one didn't come with the strap. This button here lifts up and pushes down in order to put the film spool in the back of the camera. This is the wind knob right here, and you only go in the counterclockwise direction to wind the film. It's ratcheted, so you can't turn it in the wrong direction. On the side of the camera, there's a tripod socket, as well as a tripod socket in the middle on the bottom. And on this side there isn't anything, except underneath the imitation leather there are two buttons, one on each side, to release the back mechanism. And I'll lay it on its front here. So if I push these two buttons, the back releases. And that's the back. And you'll notice that the take-up spool is made out of wood. If I wanted to put the film in, I would pull this little lever up. The bottom one, there's another bottom one on the bottom. Pull that up and I could put the new spool in there and snap those two in. And then the take-up spool, when you're done with your film, you pull the bottom out, you pull the top out, it's just a little sticky, and then the film spool comes out, and you'll notice it's a beautiful wooden film spool. It's got metal ends on it, which are a little rusty. It's a little tricky to get back in. I want to align this properly. And there you're out, and that's how you would wind the film. It gives you access to the back of the lens to clean it. There's the little window to look at the film counter. As you advance, there would be numbers there for your 12 exposures. So there you have it. One of the larger box cameras that Kodak made. The beauty of the pictures in the 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch size is that you could make contact prints with that, and the contacts could in fact then be postcards, and you could make large postcards without ever using an enlarger. Also interesting is if you download the owner's manual for this, the manual not only tells you how to operate the camera, but it talks you through all of the procedures to develop the film. It has part numbers to order from Kodak to get the chemicals and everything you need to develop the film. It also has an optional Kodak Correspondence College that you can sign up for $2. I'll get a better picture of that. And then in the manual is the directions for using the flash. And this was before synchronized flash, so there's no sync socket on this lens. So the way you used flash was with Eastman flash sheets, which was basically a little explosion like you see magicians do when they pull out a rabbit and there's a flash. These flash sheets would mount on a cardboard and you would light them with a match. So to take a flash exposure, you would open the shutter, run around and ignite all of these flash sheets, and then come back and close the shutter, and that would give you your exposure in the dark or at night. Cool little camera. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.